So that situation that you were talking about, it was seemed to be very clear. What's the first one you were talking about? Oh, when you were saying spur of the moment. Like you had a very clear idea of how that would go. So we actually want to slow it down, right? And unwind it, unravel it, and then bring to it visually how you would like that to go differently, putting yourself in a different place to how you have got it that you would be right now.
And if you're not a visual person, because not everybody is, make it work for you. You know, just what is the experience you would like to have happen? You know, for some people, it's an auditory thing. You know, oh, what am I hearing people saying? What am I, you know? So, however that is for you, visualizing doesn't simply mean like seeing. It can be however you experience something. You create it inside of yourself, however you do that.
You could write a list. First thing, I get there ahead, I'm on time, or I'm there 5 minutes early. You could actually write a list of steps. So it's a different form of visualizing, but whichever way you do it, you're rewriting. Right? You're rewriting in the way that you want it to go. Retraining that.
You can say it and tape yourself and then listen to it. There's all kinds of ways of doing it.
So another key piece here internally is being clear on your intention. It's on the inside, being clear on your intention. So if you're picking up the phone to invite somebody to take a look at Life Force, or you're picking up the phone to follow up with somebody, they've been on the product for a few weeks and you're following up, and there's fear there. Has anybody had that fear comes up around that? So again, taking a look, yeah? You don't want to call somebody back, right? Their auto ship's coming up next week. They've been on the product almost a month, and you don't want to call them because
they're going to cancel.
Yeah, you want to cancel. So it's really better that you don't call them at all.
Don't remember. Oh, sorry.
Hopefully they'll just reorder. But really what we'd like to do, if the fear wasn't there, would be to talk to them, wouldn't we? We want to check in, how's it going? You know. So we need to actually set a different intention, because otherwise we're not going to call them, and we won't be very good at follow-up. This whole conversation could just transform your relationship to following up with people, right?
That was a huge aha for me, actually, when I realized that I had one purpose up here and I had another purpose in here. That my purpose up here was to, you know, give people information or, you know, whatever that was, but my purpose in here was being liked, being accepted, being loved, right? And one of the things for me that I realized when I'm in front of a group of people is that if my intention is to be liked, right? If my intention is to have people love me, like me, you know, whatever that is, then nothing I do is going to be perfect, and then nothing I do is going to succeed, and I will always be a failure because I can never be good enough. I have to be brilliant, I have to be perfect, I have to be all of these things if I'm going to be liked and loved and whatever. And if even one person out there doesn't like one thing that I say, I fail. And so getting really clear, you know, what Annie's saying is just, this is a vital, vital piece. It's like really being honest with myself. What is my purpose? What is my intention in this moment? And then practice. Practice what we do when we train people to do the invitation, which is what? What is the secret of a great invitation?
Your attention on.
Thank you. Put your attention over there. Right? Get it off here. Right? Put your attention over there. So my purpose is about you. It's not about me. My purpose is about you. How can I serve you? I have something here that can change your life. You know, how can I do that? How can I, you know, give this gift to you? How, you know, it's all about you. Whether it's you or whether it's 1,000 people sitting out there in front of me.
So if you are about to pick up the phone and call somebody whose auto ship is due to process next week, if it was all about you, would be, please don't cancel your auto ship. That's what's going on over here. What would it be otherwise? Like if we put the attention over there, what would that be?
How's it working for you, and what else can serve you and your body? What do we need to incorporate with the body balance?
Yeah. And you may want to write those down. I used to write it, I still do. Write down, what is my intention for this conversation? What is my intention for this person? And share that. What you've just said, if you call me up and say, Annie, and you just shared that, I would feel so cared for.
And, it's interesting how the response happens that way too. People are grateful. I just called somebody the other day and she said, I'm ready to order again. And I said, well, what about doing the colon cleanse? Because we had talked about that. And she goes, oh yeah, I want to add that. So it's just like, and I felt like I'm doing such a service for them. So why does it shift sometimes? I mean, it's like this, it's almost like an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Like some days I'm just like, yes, I can call everybody in the whole world. And then some days it's like, you know, it's just so weird. It's almost hormonal or something.
So are you saying though when that happens that it's because we're coming with the wrong intention?
Yeah. Our intention's in our head and about us and what we need.
It's flowing good, it's because it's about them.
Yeah, yeah. And we're not attached. We're not so attached.
And so
to
we
what
can practice creating that. We can actually make that happen ourselves rather than just letting it. Some days it does and some days it doesn't. It's like Annie said, sit down before every conversation or before you give your testimonial, before whatever it is you're going to do, and just mentally go, I'm here in service of you. How can I serve you? So we can practice doing that. Yes.
Just add, and I'm actually a psychologist by training, and so what happens in your brain, we know a lot about how the brain is functioning. In the past 5 to 7 years, there's been some research, and what happens is we develop habitual ways of thinking, and so when you say, sometimes you're charged up and other times you kind of get back into that, it's because that's the power of habit. You're just your brain is just kind of reverting back to what it has always done, which is to think, oh, if I pick up the phone, they're going to reject me or whatever. And that's just a habitual thing that kind of goes around in our heads. And you have to work harder, and you have to practice a lot. And you have to kind of pull yourself out of that pull, that very strong pull.
Yeah.
Because there is going to be a strong pull to say, oh, I just don't want to make that phone call. And you have to recognize that is just a bad habit. It's just like a negative feedback loop in your head.
Great.
And you just have to say to yourself, all it is a bad habit, a thought habit. And I'm just going to intentionally, and it takes a lot of energy, I'm going to be honest, it really just does take a lot of energy to say, no, you know what, I'm going to do this.
And you could call your upline. There are other things you can do too, right? Like I said, you could write down your intentions, and you could call your upline, say, I'm going to make some invitation calls. Can I go through who I'm going to call, who I want to reach out to? Or we're going to Mile High tomorrow, and there are these people I want to connect with. Can I just talk to you about, how I'd like this to go? Invite your upline to support you with that as well. What about when we're scared that people will think we're chasing them? Anybody's had that as well around follow-up as well? We don't want to chase people, right? Again, that's our worry in our head that would be perceived by them. That's not our intention. So what is our intention? When that comes up, how can you transform that intention? You don't want to chase them. Right? What do you want for them?
You just want to serve them.
You don't want to serve them. You just want to help them out. So how powerful would it be to actually say that? To say, I do not want you to feel that I'm chasing you, because I do not chase people. Here's what I do. Here's what you can count on me for. Here's what I'm here for. Here's how I'm here to serve you. Wouldn't that be great, just to get it out?
So you could even say, I don't want you to think that I'm a salesman.
Yes, say it.
Yes, absolutely. That's what's in there.
That's in there.
Absolutely.
That's what's in
But
there.
also say what you are intending, not just what you're
to
not,
continue,
but then say,
say,
but what I am, who I am. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not going to be pushy. I'm not going to try and talk you into this. But this is who I am. I am committed to you being as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
I'm committed to your financial success. Whatever it may be you are a stand for, you're committed to, share that for them. And they're like, you are? They love that when people really get what our intention is.
That happened for me with you when I kept wanting to get my sister to talk to you. Kept telling her, I want you to talk to Annie, but I never till right before she actually did it, till I actually said why I wanted her to talk to you.
Okay.
And, you know, it took all that time till, and I think when I finally told her why, she thought, oh, I do need to hear about this.
Great. There you go.
So,
You made it about
yeah,
her.
exactly,
And how
made
it
it
could be
more,
a contribution to
and,
her.
and verbalized it to her.
And you verbalized it. Great.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
One of the things about this business that is so beautiful is that it really causes us to look in here and be as honest and authentic as we possibly can. To take those layers off that keep that locked in here, and to be willing to be honest, to be willing to be authentic with somebody. Like, yep, this is who I am, and it's scary. You know, it's vulnerable. We're opening ourselves up, like I said, to being seen, right? So it is, and like you said, it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, we can stand up here and talk about it all day long, but it's scary. And it takes being willing to take that risk and push those edges.
I just love what you're saying about telling attention to that person. I work with it internally, and I have it for me, but rarely do I just start the conversation with letting them know it. And that is so, I mean, I think it's one, it puts them at ease, but it also makes it so much more powerful. If I speak that to them, then I'm really accountable to that intention.
You're accountable, but you're out of your head. Yeah. The other thing about this is what the internal aspect of it. Like you said, you get clear about it. You've been practicing it internally, and so that does get communicated.
Right.
It's just not verbally.
Exactly.
And so people feel that on the phone, right? They'll feel it. And so yeah, just it's like a cherry on the top is to actually verbalize it. But if we're here and we're calling people, or we're interacting, or we're inviting from this place, guess what gets communicated? Non-verbally is a whole bunch of this, right?
Oh yeah.
Can you share? Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know, when I was first building, for the first quite a few years, my fear was so intense that people were not going to say yes to me. And I was sharing before that I had like off the charts reactions to me, because I was cold calling. I didn't know anybody. And so I was actually calling people I didn't know. And I had people threaten to have me deported. I had, true,
For real.
for real. I am not kidding you. I had people threaten to call the police on me, telling me what I was doing was illegal. I had like dozens of people slam the phone in my ear. I mean, it was way on the other end of the spectrum. I mean, I really had to learn something through this because it was pretty extreme. But when I realized that my commitment was to my journey through this, and therefore to them, it completely changed. When I learned that one piece of put my attention over there, it was amazing. People still said no, but it was like, oh, thank you for asking. It was this complete, like, night and day response. Amazing.
It's amazing how it's a mirror for us. Like that's a mirror. When you
Oh
talk to
yeah,
someone.
it's a total feedback
It's
system.
a reflection.
What's happening out here? Absolutely.
Of what's going
Completely.
on inside.
What's
Yeah.
going on inside? That's the biggest piece to take away from this breakout session is that.
Yeah.
People are responding to the nonverbal, to the energy, to the
Mhm.
unspoken.
Yes.
That's what they're
Yeah.
feeling.
You know when someone's not listening, even on the phone, right? How is that possible? You know they're not, you can't see them. Like that, we are so connected to each other. We pick up on so much that we're not even just consciously aware of.
Yeah.
That's great. So around this, especially around speaking and wanting to develop your speaking skills, also set a personal intention, like what that's for you. Why do you want to take this on? Why do you want to get out of your comfort zone? Like somebody said this morning, we actually get paid to grow here. We get paid to transform. And it does feel uncomfortable, often, to grow.
I think probably once you break through it, you feel alive and like and unlike you ever have before.
That could be your intention,
Uh-huh.
right? That you want to feel more alive, that this can contribute to that. I think it's personal to each of
Yeah.
us. Why would we put ourselves up there and share a testimonial on a Super Saturday when our heart's going to be racing and our breath's going to be all over the place? There's got to find a reason. You know, this is so important. Find an intention to grow. What that is for you, self-realization, whatever it may be. You know you're grown. Okay, then there are some other really practical things to do. Those are the internals. Then there's the externals, like being prepared, just knowing what you're going to share. Know your material. If you're sharing a testimonial, think of a couple of points. That's it. Don't think about exactly how the word's going to come out. But say, no, I want to share that I don't have migraines anymore and I don't crave chocolate anymore. Right? Whatever it may be. That's funny on the keywords. I didn't mean to do that. That's funny. But whatever it may be, you know, go out there like that's all you don't mind how it comes out. Because people don't really mind how it comes out. Do they? They are rooting for you.
I think they want you to be more genuine anyways.
They want you to be more genuine. So when we did this breakout session earlier, Christa was in the middle of a thought, and then she went completely blank. And everyone thought she did it on purpose because that was the breakout session. It was all about being authentic at the front of the room. It was really sweet. But it just gave us an opportunity to talk about that. Like people want us to be just real, regular. And it's not about looking at Christa and saying, oh, I've got to become Christa and put her on a pedestal. It is just about being more of who we are. Who we already are, being ourselves. Humor is a great aspect to that, isn't it? Just making fun of ourselves and just laughing and just, bringing humor is a really good piece of humor.
And, you know, if you have 2 or 3 points, no more, that you stick to, you can have them written as bullet points on a sheet of paper. There's nothing to say. You have to get up in front of the room with nothing. You know? You can have a sheet of paper. You can have a little notepad or whatever.
Did you see Margie this morning? She had notes. She told her story and then she went back to her podium and there were her notes. Yeah. Really good to study other people and how they do it.
Absolutely.
She's an extraordinary example of growing on the stage.
Yeah.
She's
From last year to this
amazing.
year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrate Jerry Hillman too, and I started. Jerry couldn't
Oh my
speak.
gosh.
Wayne spoke.
Extraordinary.
You heard Jerry this morning.
Yeah. I know. It's
It's
amazing
beautiful.
watching people. Yeah.
And we've been side by side too. We've grown. I mean, Chris has grown me over the years as well.
And Annie's grown me.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Just being in those moments, and sometimes just going through the fire of the moment of, oh, my mind's gone blank, or I've lost my notes, or whatever may have happened, and how you deal with that, then it's over. That will never go through that again.
Yeah, I made myself actually. Annie and I have both had severe head injuries, and so, you know, we both have these blank out moments where there is literally there is nothing there. There's nothing to call on because it ain't there, right? And I remember going through months of feeling like, who am I? Because everything I knew about myself was gone out of my head. All the knowledge that I had that made me, you know, this, you know, healthcare practitioner, psychologist, whatever, was gone. And so I still felt people saw me like they knew me, but I wasn't me. And so I was walking around like, oh my God, I'm a fraud. Who am I? It was really traumatic. And one of the things that I realized was what an extraordinary gift this is, because I have to drop that. I have to find me. Who am I? Without all that. And so I made myself 1 year, it was about 9 months after that happened, I volunteered to speak at convention. And I was still like pretty traumatized at that point. I still had lost a lot of my memory. I still, you know, there was still a lot going on. And I made myself stand up there and be a keynote speaker. I asked Christina if I could do it. Because I knew I had to get over that fear. And it happened. I stood up there and I went completely blank. And it was a turning point for me. It's like I stood there and I just stood there. And everybody sat there.
Waiting for
Waiting.
something to come to
Yeah.
you.
And what I got during those few moments was that this wasn't even scary. These people were there for me. They were with me. It was the most amazing feeling to really tangibly get that. And to realize, everybody in that audience has the same fear on some level or other. And so there's a connection, it's like, I don't know, what did Kathy say? They're rooting for you, It's a wonderful realization. It's not that scary. So, how do you see people out there?
So you could ask somebody to smile. So if you're in the front of the room, you could plant somebody and say, can you just smile at me the whole time?
I agree.
This is
Yeah.
really, really helpful. It's
That's
really
key.
helpful. Because if I'm up here and I'm working through my nerves and you're smiling, I'm just going to speak, I'm just going to focus on you. Great thing to do, but the smile, oh my gosh, it does so much.
You
The
can
other thing-
plant somebody there
Yeah.
and go, sit there and smile at me. Yeah, really.
And do this tomorrow, like during the general session. Smile, like when Alex gets, especially Alex. This always works with Alex. Just have a big grin on your face, and he will lock eyes with you.
Yeah.
Like he will hold on to that grin. It's really great. It makes a big difference to whoever's speaking on stage. If you're just so receptive to them, there's that affinity. That's really what happens. There's suddenly this connection to you. So we can all help each other with that. So think of that in Super Saturdays, at home meetings, all those times, yeah. And then also being practical, like have water on stage, like we said, anything that you are concerned that might happen, look at practical ways to make sure those don't happen. I remember one time I walked up on stage, this was at a convention years ago, and my sandal broke, my shoe broke just as I got up on stage. And that year, the theme is a new day, the theme that year was family reunion. And so I said, okay, and it was in San Diego, I was like, okay, this is a family reunion, I'm going to take my shoes off. That's all I could do because the whole thing was just like flat. Right? So I just took my shoes off. And no kidding, people remember that. They don't remember a word I said, but they remember that I took my shoes off. One guy, I think it was even last year, he said, so you kept your shoes on this time? Yeah. So yeah, it's just like anything can happen, but how you deal with it, just make it light. Yeah,
I remember.
You didn't tell anybody it broke. You just took your shoes off.
Yeah, I was too much.
I remember Holly the first year she got up to speak in front of everybody. She was terrified. You remember that? Absolutely terrified.
You were
she
there,
made
yeah.
me learn word for word her speech so that I could get up there and do it when she couldn't speak.
When she passed out.
When she passed out. I was standing on the side, having learned this by rote, right? And she had about, like Holly, 69 pages. And she had learned it by rote, the whole thing, except that she was so terrified she couldn't remember, and so she had her notes, right, and she was going to read it. She decided, I can read it. I can get up there and I can read it. I can do that. And so she walked up there, she got to the podium, and she dropped the whole line. Oh my gosh! And they went everywhere.
Oh, no.
Couldn't get it back in order.
She couldn't get it back in order. Oh my God. And she got through it. And she was fine. And she was great. And everybody loved her. I know. We all have
Well,
our moments.
and Christa, can I just say that also, when I learned this from you, when you make a mistake, it actually gives people permission. Like, you can make mistakes, because I remember you came to Denver and you had a faux pas with the remote control for the slide presentation, and you said, this has been a couple years ago, even Crown Diamonds don't know how to work machinery or something like that. And I went, thank you, because really I got that I don't have to know how to work machinery. So you gave me that permission that you can mess up at the front of the room and it's okay. So it actually can provide something for others. So
Right.
yeah, so thanks for messing up.
Even on a one-on-one. We say that like don't feel like you need to know all the answers. That's a fear. That was
Yeah.
somebody's fear earlier. What if I can't answer their question?
Yeah.
It's the
That
same
is
thing.
me. That
It
is exactly how I feel, and I know that I don't have to because I have this whole team, but it's
Yeah,
still in
but
my
also, but
head.
knowing, just like Cindy said, Cindy just got so much when Christa couldn't operate the clicker. So what the gift that you would give that person by saying, you know, I haven't got a clue what the answer is to that, but I'll find out for you. They'll be like, I could do this business too.
Very good.
So it's a contribution. It shifted something for Cindy. So it's important that we don't know all the answers, right?
Yeah.
It really is. Isn't that great? It's just, yeah, we're helping other people.
Again, it makes you look genuine.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Great. And the last one, practice. Practice, practice, practice.
So if you could make a video of yourself, I mean, there's put it on YouTube.
That's very thought right there.
No, but just make it for you. You know, make a video of yourself telling your testimonial, or you know, maybe taking a little piece of information about life force or body balance or something and sharing that, and then watch it. Like, be willing to critique yourself. Be willing to sit there and go, you know what? I could have changed that bit, or I could have, you know, maybe if I wore something else, it would, you know, it's amazing. Clothes make you feel better, different. You wear something different, it's incredible how that can make you feel. So practice all these little bits, everything you can do like this. One of the things that we did at the leadership training at Estes last year was we had people get up and speak, and we videoed them and then played it back. And it was powerful. It was really powerful.
I also think too that we all have this expectation that we should be great from the beginning, and we forget that we're never great at anything in the beginning. And that if we almost prepare ourselves by saying, you know, the first 50 times I talk to people, it's probably going to be terrible, but if the faster I do those 50 times, then I'll be better the 51st time. And so if you kind of mentally prepare yourself by saying, okay, I'm just going to expect that I won't be so good in the beginning, and then at least I can get those out of the way fast, and then I'll get better. I'll just keep going.
And when you're nervous, to also share that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that necessarily goes away. After years of being in life, there are certain people that it's going to take something for me to actually offer this to them. But for me to say, you know, this is a really big deal that I'm calling you. You know, I'm really nervous right now because this means a lot to me, or you mean a lot to me, or whatever is there. If you can share that, verbalize that, it dissolves it. It really makes a difference.
One of my very favorite things that really has pulled me through all these past few years is that you had said, you know, you can't say the wrong thing to the right people, and you can't say the right thing to the wrong people. And I have held that because when I have gotten done, I get off the phone, I go, oh, I can't believe I said that, you know, or something like that. And just to remember that, and it really has made a difference.
I mean, this is a journey. You know, doing this business is a journey, and it's not everybody's journey. We all have our own journeys through life. And just because this is not someone's journey doesn't make them wrong or make us wrong.
Or us right.
Or us right. Right. So just remembering that, you know, when it's right for somebody, it doesn't matter what you say. It's going to be right. You know, it's going to be, oh, really? Yeah.
So the number one secret. Chris and I are in this trend right now about offering the number one secret to everything.
Right.
So we have the number one secret.
Number one
Seeking
secret. Anybody guess?
Be yourself,
Be yourself is a big one.
That's not number one.
It's not number one.
It's about them.
Yeah, set your intention.
Picture everybody nude, yeah, right?
Just do it.
The number one secret is practice is up there. Is
Intention.
give them something of value. That is the number one secret. And it could, you don't know what that thing is. You have no clue. It could be they walked out of there feeling better about themselves. It could be they walked away with a little bit of knowledge they didn't have before. It could be you don't know what it is. And there is no way you can stand in front of a group of people and speak without them walking away with something of value. It's not possible. So giving somebody, so even if you go, oh my God, why did I say that? You know, I screwed up, I shouldn't have done that. You know, I didn't know what to say, blah, blah, blah. If they walk away with something of value, which they will, you've done your job. And you have been wildly successful.
So we have a few minutes left. Who in the room has not stood up and shared their life or story, their body art story in a group setting before?